everyone, and welcome to this Hangout. Today I'm talking about the systems approach and operating models. Why does every organization need an operating model? And it doesn't matter whether you're a big organization or a small organization, you still need an operating model. The operating model is just like the skeleton of a human body. It's the skeleton of the organization. It helps you to actually identify when you start your business of what is your capabilities, what are you going to deliver, and how you're going to deliver it. So from that perspective, as a startup, it really helps you to understand your organization, what it's going to look like, and what will you develop into. If you're a big organization, it helps you to actually stay on track with your vision and your strategy, so that when you actually become so big and you're a global organization, you understand what are the products that you offer your customers, and you can, when you get feedback from your customers, you can also understand what is differentiating you from other organizations. So an operating model is, for me, the most important part of your business case, or even from your strategy and your vision. And it will actually start off with what do you want to achieve, and then from there onwards you will take the why, and that is how you'll implement it through your operating model. And the methodology that I use is called the systems approach, or otherwise also the process approach. Now, if I am correct, I'm not totally certain about this, but my understanding is that this methodology was created by the International Bureau of Standards, which is a global organization which standardizes systems, procedures, and quality aspects of an organization. So you can actually register your organization and prove that you are following certain processes to this organization, and they will then certify you as an organization that delivers with integrity. They've developed the systems approach to actually help organizations to define how they should actually certify their processes with them. And they call it the systems approach. And that means that you look at your organization as a system. So there will always be an input, and there will always be some form of service or product that you create, and that's the output that you then create and deliver to your customers. It's very important that you actually get the feedback from your customers to tell you how you're performing against your strategy, and also against the standards that you said you would deliver. So it's very important then, from a systems approach, to understand what standard are you offering your customer, what is your products actually going to deliver. Then you have to measure against that you said you're going to deliver, and then that will give you feedback to make sure that you stay on track and you deliver what you've promised your customer. I've also used another approach, which is called the theory of constraints. And that was created by Eli Goldratt, and he wrote a book, The Goal. It was one of the most exciting books that I've read from an academic perspective. He actually wrote the theory of constraints in a novel, and he explains it very well on how the theory of constraints work. And they are very high, and their big emphasis is on making sure that your system is balanced and that you actually deliver to your optimum capacity in your value chain. So that is from your customer order right through to your customer delivery. You actually have to balance and optimize the whole system. So the whole objective of the system is to deliver the same things and concentrate on the same things that will actually get the product out of the door. Now, if you understand a production environment, it's a bit easier to explain that, first of all, in a production environment where you will be able to see the products go through a product line, and you'll also be able to see where are the bottlenecks in your system, because your inventory will normally increase in your bottleneck. So it's very physical when you walk through a factory to actually see where have you got stock sitting on your floor which are not moving. Once you found the bottleneck that is actually prohibiting you to get the products out of the door to your customer, you have to work on that part of the chain to make sure that you increase the capacity of that bottleneck, because you will only be able to deliver the number of items that your bottleneck can produce in a day. And he's created a lot of measurements that supports this systems approach very well and very effectively to be able to make sure that you deliver optimum amount of capacity at the end of the day to your customers. When you then have spare capacity, you can then start looking at how am I going to increase my sales to get the capacity and balance the sales to the capacity if you've got spare capacity. So for me, he was the first person that I ever knew that was saying, let's increase the cake rather than let's cut cost and let's reduce cost when we go into a recession or when there is difficult times in an organization. So there's two ways you can actually optimize your organization. You can either say my costs are too high and then reduce your cost, which is always good. But once you've come to your optimization on your cost cutting, you then have to say, but how do I make the cake bigger and increase my sales to adjust for the spare capacity that I have? You then have to work with your sales department to actually increase your sales rather than just concentrating on reducing your cost. And for me, that is the most important thing that you will get if you actually work on your operating model and stating how your operating model and your processes will work. You will be able to then identify where your bottlenecks are, and you can then work on seeing on how am I going to improve the capacity of my bottleneck. And if I improve the capacity of my bottleneck, how will that increase the amount of product that I will get out of the door? Then I have to talk to my sales and marketing department to say, in a month or two, whenever this capacity is increased, you're going to have more product to sell. So better start talking to your customers. And if you don't have the customers who are going to be able to take up the extra product that's going to come off the production line, then start looking for new customers. This way, your production line and your marketing and sales teams work as a team together to make sure that they sell the optimum amount of product that you can produce. Now, this works in the same way for the service industry. It's just easier to actually explain it first of all, and once you understand it, the concepts are the same. Doesn't matter whether you are in a production environment or in a service industry. If you follow the two approaches and the two methodologies and create your operating model, it will help you to optimize your production capability, and it will help you to sell your products that you actually produce. That is what I emphasize in my trainings, and that is what market-based productivity is all about. Please visit me if you want to know more at marketspaceproductivity.com and sign up. Come and take the tour and see what you will benefit from actually working with me. Hope to see you soon on another hangout, and remember, it's marketspaceproductivity.com.